Peoples, top of the morning. It is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. This story was brought to my attention by Democracy Now! As I said, Democracy Now! Is a reputable platform. It's a reputable news outlet, news media outlet. You should give them a follow if you on the X platform, if you on all social media platforms, you should give them a follow. But definitely go to YouTube, check out some of their videos. It's very informative. This story right here about, well, I say a kid. He's actually 23 years old, but a young adult by the name of Elijah Brown. Now, this story is a few years old, but there's been new developments in this situation. Trial opens of paramedics charged with negligent homicide and death of Elijah McCLAIN. So as you can see, there's new developments in this case where the paramedics that was charged with the negligent homicide, the trials are now beginning to open up. And this is a 4-year-old case. I believe this happened in 2019, in August of 2019. And so the people of Colorado have been protesting and really been pushing this thing forward to have it reinvestigated. And so these are the new developments as of October. Now, I'm going to switch to something else that's going to give you a more in-depth detail of what just happened as it relates to the two paramedics. I believe that it is. I believe that one paramedic was charged and one paramedic was acquitted. So we're going to get over to that. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but I just want to give you an overview of what happened back on August 24th of 2019. So you can look up Elijah Jovain McClain and you'll find this article. You understand? You see the title, Killing of Elijah McClain. So now I'm going to read a little bit just to give you, like I said, an overview of what happened at that time. Elijah Jovain McClain was a 23-year-old American black man from Aurora, Colorado, who was killed as he was walking home from a convenience store. 3 police officers and 2 paramedics were involved in a violent encounter which led to his death. Now, as you can see, 2 paramedics and 3 police officers. Now, what I believe happened in this situation is the 2 paramedics injected him with something, I believe a sedative or something of that nature, to calm him down in this situation. And I believe that that's what led to his death. And I just want to give a proper pronunciation to his name. It's Elijah Jovan McClain, not Jovain. I was saying Jovain previously, but it's Elijah Jovan McClain. As you can see from the second paragraph, where it says on August 24th, 2019. Now, as you read it, it's the same typical nonsense. A civilian, a Colorado civilian, calls the police, says that there's a guy wearing a ski mask and he looks sketchy. He's unarmed, but he's wearing a ski mask and he looks sketchy. And so that's the whole premise and the start of this situation. That's the basis of this situation where a kid ends up dying. He ends up losing his life because he's approached for virtually doing absolutely nothing wrong. And I can only imagine that there's tension. I can only imagine that he doesn't know how to handle the situation. He's probably upset. And these paramedics decide we're going to inject him with this sedative. I also want to keep your attention on the second paragraph because as you can see, He was already forcibly held on the ground and he was handcuffed behind his back. Two chokeholds was applied, and then the paramedics arrived. So he's already in handcuffs. He's handcuffed behind his back. He's on the ground, and this sedative was applied after. You understand? So this sedative was applied after he had already been subdued. So now, if you pay attention to this article, you can see that there is a consistent timeline because the people of Colorado, they continued to fight, and I have to commend them for that. On June 24th, 2020, after massive protests, the lawmakers request for a new third-party investigation into McCLAIN's death. So they were continuing to fight, continuing to fight. In February 2021, an investigation report ordered by the city council was released. Once again, continuing to fight, continuing to fight. On October 12th, 2023, I don't know how to pronounce his name, was found guilty on charges of criminally negligent homicide and assault, while Rosenblatt was acquitted of all charges against him, including reckless manslaughter and assault. So those are the two, those are two of the three police officers that one of them was convicted and the other one was acquitted. And I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, another trial prosecuting Nathan Wayward began on Tuesday, October 17th. Wayward was found not guilty on Monday, November 6th. A third trial, that of the paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Peter, don't know how to say his last name, began on November 29th. So the paramedics trial, I believe, is beginning now. And I believe, from my understanding of this, two of the police officers were basically acquitted. One of the police officers was charged, found guilty, and I believe the paramedics part of the trial is beginning now. Geopolitical news: Al Jazeera reports how Israel is squeezing 1.8 million Palestinians into an airport-sized area. Israel has declared an area smaller than a Heathrow Airport as a safe space for Gaza's displaced people to move. As you can see from these images, you see a child in what looks to be a makeshift tent, and it seems to be surrounded by other makeshift tents, and it's just a very disgraceful, disgusting situation. And the more and more I cover this conflict, the more and more I cover this story, the more and more I feel the same way. At this time, I want to bring your attention to another story. Right now, I'm on the X platform. This is from the Young Turks, and it says, coming up on the Young Turks Live, AGs, which is attorney generals, fed up with New York Times, CNN, Hamas coverage, issue stern warning, follow the law. So now, what this is about is the attorney general's releasing a letter to, I believe, four of the biggest news media platforms in the United States of America. And they're basically issuing a warning to them about not only their coverage of Hamas, but how they choose to cover it. Now, I'm going to come back later with some more developments as it relates to this, because this is concerning journalists. This is concerning content creators, people who cover this story. This is very well concerning us, because the letter that they released or sent to these news media platforms is basically a threatening letter. is threatening prosecution as it relates to how they cover Hamas. And I found this to be very astounding because, as you very well know, I've been covering this story since the beginning of it. And so, one may take my opinions and views and feel like I'm being biased in a certain way, but I'm only a human being who's actually outraged by what I'm seeing, the atrocities that I'm seeing. So, like I said, I'm going to come back later with some more developments as it relates to this situation in this story. Like I said, the attorney generals have just sent notice to all media platforms, the major media platforms, as it relates to their coverage of Hamas and possible prosecution. I'll be back this afternoon with some more geopolitical news. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this situation. Once again, always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.